My coffee, my latte art game continues.
Let's see.
Check this shit out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Rob. I can't hit the button.
I do not F around.
You don't fuck around. Like, you really get that going. That's hard to do on a, on a rig at home, Like, it's hard to get that right.
I spent a stupid amount of money on, back when I was making good, when I was making City Hall money, fancy coffee makers for everybody.
Hey, awesome.
I did, much like you went to town on your bubbly water maker, your snob water maker. I think of the same level of industrial. Let's think of that same industrial level for my coffee machine. Yeah, this is not some consumer thing.
Okay. It's legit, huh?
It's legit. Yeah, let's do it, baby. What are we looking at?
I have no idea why we're looking at this scene right here.
And the Black Messiah.
We're talking about Judas and the Black Messiah. That's right. Oh my gosh. Wow, right?
Crazy, eh?
Crazy. A little bit crazy. Yeah.
Are you gonna play the trailer, or you want me to just jump into the log line and everything?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's play the trailer. Let's pull that up, huh? Okay.
There you go, eh?
Wow. I'm feeling tingles just from the trailer there. And again, if you're watching the replay, you can catch that link in the description below. Holy smokes, what a movie, huh, Rob?
Crazy,
man.
Yeah. Well, let's get through it, and then let's get to talking about it, because there's a lot to talk about here, I think.
Let's do it. Exactly. Let's start it off. Remember, folks, this is the no spoilers review show that no one asked for, but you can't live without. And we have 3 tests, right, Rob? I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Yeah. We got the Bechdel test.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Bechdel test. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, sure. Yeah. We ask whether or not it's class conscious, and then we talk about whether or not it's worth your time. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Here's the log line for anyone who it might be hard to capture from the trailer. As Black Panther Party activist Fred Hampton ascends, falling for a fellow revolutionary en route, Bill O'Neill infiltrates the party at the direction of the FBI. Over time, a battle wages over O'Neill's soul, his soul. As far as the talent goes, directed by Shaka King, written by Will Burson and Shaka King, and stars Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. We've got, as far as ideological ingredients go, let's do this, baby.
Okay.
Bechdel test, no.
Yeah.
Class conscious, it's a pretty solid, especially for a North American film, especially for a film out of Hollywood. Yeah, I'd say it's a class. It makes Carl happy.
I've pressed the wrong button there. I've got to start that whole thing over. Holy smokes! Oh my God! Start it all over.
Good
Lord. Let's bring it back in. So we set a pass on the Bechdel test.
Pass. It did not crush it.
Yeah. So in terms of the class conscious test, this is probably our
rewind. It failed the Bechdel test.
I did it again, didn't I? I did it again. I did it again. It totally failed. Probably there were some opportunities there. And I think we're gonna have to talk about who wrote it, because I think I may have some confusion there. And then the class consciousness, absolutely pass.
Yeah.
One of the first films that we can finally say yes. And that's why I sort of pushed this one back a couple of days. I wanted to make sure I gathered my thoughts together.
Yeah. And then on as far as just before we get to whether or not it was worth your time, and then hot takes and discussion on the production side, would it qualify for a reframe stamp? And that's about gender and race diversity in above the line big shot jobs? No. Is it union made? Hell yeah. And so there you go. For Jim and I don't know about you, man. It's kind of hard to tell what your opinion is of this flick, but I would say for Jim and I, we did feel it was worth our audience's time. About you.
Yeah.
Surprise us, shock us now with your opinion of this film.
We'll get into the weeds here in a minute, but with a couple reservations, it's absolutely worth your time. It's a great film. I really like it. I think y'all should watch it, and we'll talk about the upsides and the downsides. Did you want to pull up? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought you had a different video for that. Okay. So there we go.
Yeah. As far as and yes, I do want to. Jim actually in the show the other night on our show asked me to ask you something, and then I thought maybe I'll just send you a video of it. Yeah. But here's my hot take, and then maybe bring up Jim's clip, and then we'll move forward. But my hot take here is, notwithstanding the fact that it is absolutely worth people's time, go check it out.
Yeah.
I think there are 3 great films in this, which make for a pretty good flick, but not what I would call a great film. And that's my hot take, and we can get into more of that later. But Jim did have a question for you.
Yeah? All right, let's see what happens when I do this then. There we got Jim.
Go for it. I was going to say, when you're talking to Dan on Monday, tomorrow, right? iDanSimpson?
Oh, yes.
If you can ask him about, because he's watched this already. I saw your replay of another round there. Ask him how it feels as a Chicagoan to watch this. I know it was maybe not filmed in Chicago, but is there any kind of resonance?
It's resonating. I tell you,
I would say, our equivalent may be something 100 years back, like Louis Riel for Winnipeg. But for him, for his city, Fred Hampton's obviously more recent history.
So there you go.
Okay, so
there was Jim's question. So we got to make sure we talk about that.
Okay. Let me make sure I actually understand the question. He's asking, is it resonating? Is he asking, are there people who are following in Fred's footsteps, like Black Panther style, or what?
No. He's just wondering about your feel as a Chicagoan on this. And that comes down to did it really? Does it capture? And I know you weren't up and around and hanging and hanging out, being active in 1968, 69, 70. But, does it feel like Chicago? Does a lot of what they talk about in the film, does that kind of jive with your understanding, or does it really conflict with Chicago's idea of itself? Like that kind of thing. Like it, does it look like Chicago of the time? Does it remind you of your town?
Okay. Yeah, hard to say. I think, honestly, my parents would be able to, just folks who have a couple more years on me would be able to better answer that question with a certain, with some more confidence. How do I answer that? I think this will shock people, and people will be very surprised to find that the Chicago police murdered Fred Hampton in his bed. They did straight up murder him. Yeah,
like that was an assassination.
Let me answer it,
not just from the movie. Sorry.
No problem. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me continue to answer like this and give a tiny bit of context as well. My grandfather was a Chicago police. It was in Chicago police, likely during this time, and or maybe shortly thereafter. I tell you what, I don't think they taught my parents not to be racist. Okay, so let's just put it out there like this, like that. So I have some comments here, and maybe I can continue to answer Jim's question like this. But the story is fantastic, and the movie's fantastic. It's about history, so there will be some spoilers here, perhaps more than your regular review that Jim and I have. But we're not exactly giving anything away, but we'll try to hold back all of the goods. We're not going to spoil the whole movie for you. We still think it's worth your time. We don't want to spoil that for you. The story of Fred Hampton, and also Mark Clark was in there. He was murdered as well at the hands of the Chicago Police Department. It's not just the story of young black men losing their lives to the cops. In this instance, the police apparently shot upwards of 90 rounds at Fred and the Black Panthers, who were holed up inside, and they shot at most once. It's not just the story of a young black leader who had to fight to feed children in his neighborhood, and it's not unfortunately it's not a story about the FBI snitch that I think was unfortunately highlighted too often in the film. The story of Fred Hampton's murder actually can never be fully revealed in a movie because we didn't see what Fred would have become.
Well,
yeah, the story of his murder is like a shot of the heart to the leftist movement, and shot by the real enemy that Fred would say, which is the capitalist. We'll never know what was robbed from us when they shot Fred Hampton in his bed.
Well, this is it, and we talked a lot about that the other night, especially within the constraints of talking about this movie. This is what I mean about their three great films in here. You could have made it actually all about Billy O'Neill, who is a real person, who did kill himself, who most likely really struggled with what he went through as a paid informant for the FBI. And he was still in the Black Panther Party, still active for a couple of years after this. So it could have been about him. And what does that mean to be a black man of that era, who kind of like anyone undercover, let's put that in air quotes, who is both being, influenced by the thing he's spying on, while at the same time still being a spy, still being a fink. So that could have been a real fascinating character study of a person who all reports are, not just within the film, but all reports are, could actually be quite brave, but was doing kind of a cowardly, weaselly thing. That can be a fascinating film.
Yeah.
A movie about Fred Hampton. We were talking about it. I'm like, I would love to, because he was the first guy, and amongst a movement, it wasn't just him, there were lots of other people, who built an actual rainbow coalition with poor, activated poor white people, activated poor Chicano people. This is part of a big change going on at the time, and that he was able to build common cause to say, here, who is our enemy? That I would have loved to have seen. Or, Jesse Plemons does a great bit as his control, as Billy O'Neill's controller, and that I'd love to see, and I think we need to see a movie about COINTELPRO, because that was the American states, and this is, I don't mean it to pick on the United States. But that was the American states' active effort to crush anything, and going on for years and years and years. At every level, federal, state, and municipal, saying, anytime there's a black person who even thinks of organizing others, that's a communist, and we're gonna crush them. We're gonna smear them. We're gonna do everything we can, including straight up assassination, because F off, all these guys, he was assassinated. The way you think of what happened to Malcolm X, what happened to any of these leaders. So that would have been a great movie. Pick one and give us that movie. And that is, I think, now that said, this is not a huge knock. This is why I think it's a pretty good flick. It's worth everyone's time. But at the end of it, I came out of it going, boy, how did he organize? Love to have seen a movie about he was 21.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like still a child in some ways. And he did some amazing organizing work. You see him speaking really when he's talking about, about the revolution. A revolutionary can die, but the revolution doesn't. All this inspiring stuff. And it's like, Kaluuya, thank goodness, delivered. Shaka King leaves you wanting to know more about him, which is a great bit of filmmaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to know more about Dan Hampton. I want to know more about Comrade Hampton, Chairman Hampton. Don't you? Yes. You just want to know, how did he accomplish that? What lessons can we learn? Because I suspect it wasn't just him walking into a kind of political white pride meeting and going, "Hey, we all need to work together." I think there was a lot more work.
Yeah, that didn't really happen. Hey, my question is about the writers. I think I read they were the Lucas brothers, and they made like stoner like films.
They were, and they got a story credit. Like in the end, like it was Will Burson pimping this up for a while. There's a bit of a development, maybe not development hell, but a bit of a development story. Meanwhile, the Lucas brothers also were peddling a script.
Oh.
In the end, just the way these things develop, it looks like Will Burson's structure was taken. Shaka King then, of course, did his thing, like in writing, but and we'll never really know the full details. I think I always I roll my eyes a little when I hear about how a script is developed, because so many people get involved.
Yeah.
But what I can know is that what we do know is that these things usually play out in the way that they would if it went up through a Writers Guild of America, like the Writers Union arbitration system, where they kind of go, well, the structure seems to be Will's. So guess what? You guys get a story credit. You guys get this. And this is the way it is. So, yeah, the Lucas brothers were involved in some way. They made some money.
Okay.
I suspect, though, we're seeing more of Will Burson's story. And Shaka King, really, because he's the director. In the end, the vision of the film rests on his shoulders.
Okay. I will chime in then and sort of trail off if we can circle back to sort of maybe what we can consider the problematic portions, which is, that it does perhaps focus too much on William O'Neill. Lakeith Stanfield is fantastic, and his character is obviously strong-armed by the FBI. That blackmail, taking advantage of absolutely
a poor black man.
Yeah,
not hustling cars because you're rich.
Exactly. And that was, I would say, perhaps slightly disappointing. It sort of meant that Fred Hampton's character was obviously set aside during those times, and sort of prevented us from having perhaps the movie that we wanted to see, which was the Fred Hampton movie. But it's. But
it is. I don't know about that. It is sold, though. Sorry, I rudely interrupted.
I'm not mad.
Continue.
Oh,
because you're a classy guy.
Oh, that's nice. I'm not mad. I was just going to say, it wasn't even like a bad storytelling device to sort of, have the movie and have them sort of like playing that back and keeping the audience guessing sort of in that sense. It wasn't the worst thing, but again, I think it was perhaps keeping us from seeing the movie that we wanted to see. But, we bring this up a lot. Is this perhaps the best that we could expect from an industry that forces, it forced the Lucas brothers, at the very least, to rework their script several times to make it what they consider to be more marketable, and they eventually landed on a pitch. And I'll just throw this out there, and I know that you'd argue that the structure of the film belongs to another writer, but I think it's still relevant. Their winning pitch says, "We want to make it like the 1970s crime, espionage, thriller, and The Grain of the Conformist, or The French Connection. We want it to feel like gritty and 70s, but also we want it to tell the story of Fred Hampton." So it's almost an afterthought, right? So while I think the film may be problematic, it doesn't exactly bear that out. He's not an afterthought. And you're right. Daniel Kaluuya is fucking electrifying. He's dominant. I wanted to see a movie with just him going to town. As no doubt, Fred was dominant and electrifying in person. What else do I want to say about this? If I can just say one more thing about it, is that I do think it's a film to watch. It allows some perhaps needed mourning, some reflection, and hopefully it inspires some action. But before I let you finish up here or continue chatting here, it sort of makes me wonder. I'm a little worried what the libs are going to do to co-opt Fred Hampton, and ruin the message of Chairman Fred like they've ruined Martin Luther King's.
Or Che Guevara or any other leftist icon. I think, and again, this is why 3 great films in here. Give us pick one.
Yeah.
You can see the reason Billy O'Neill gets all that screen time is because at its core, that's actually who the movie's about. We start with him. We end with him. In some ways, I could almost see we have to have more Fred Hampton. Well, what if we had a lot less? Then we would have had that. We would have had a different movie, and we could be talking about it. It's like, wow, we still need to see a Fred Hampton movie, but this was a great view from the trader's perspective of a scene and of the FBI and all this other stuff. A great character study.
Right.
Or make it all about Fred Hampton.
Right.
And
they hardly mention his Marxism. I'm sorry. Love you, buddy.
They could have, it could have been more Fred Hampton, Billy O'Neill as an important but truly supporting character. Quote my colleague, Jim, he's like, now who the hell am I supposed to pick for best supporting actor? Because they're both remarkable. They deliver killer performances. But you can kind of see, it's like, who's the, it's not, again, it's a good movie. It's just, give us one or the other, not both. And it's that kind, trying to give us both. And so even the FBI, and one of I don't know if you felt this way. You have a couple of career scenes. There's a couple of scenes I could have done without. One was later in the movie, let's just say Jesse Plemons' character, the FBI character, is under pressure from J. Edgar Hoover, played by Martin Sheen. And, don't want to spoil it. I could have done without this scene, in part because Jesse Plemons playing Mitchell, it's almost like he's uncomfortable with the way this is playing out. And as far as I'm concerned, that's BS. It's almost like we have to, in these movies, and I think this is where, who knows where this comes from, but in these movies, we saw more of it in the trial of the Chicago 7, but even here, where it's like, there has to be a moment where the FBI is questioning, at least one person questioning it. F off. None of those FBI agents ever once questioned their behavior. They were hired by, it was J. Edgar Hoover's FBI by then, lock, stock, and barrel. They were ideologically committed. Those FBI fuckers, had no problem doing what they were doing. They were fighting for the American way, the white American way, I would argue. But so that, that'd be one of my criticisms of the film, is that need to have us at least, we have to have at least one slightly sympathetic white character. Do we really need that? Really?
No.
No.
I'm sorry, you're not asking.
Especially, I'm not, I'm being being a rhetorical prick about it. Do we need that? No. Especially not an FBI agent at that time. They were all bastards. Every one of them. Anyone involved in COINTELPRO was a bastard. Just a bastard. Sorry.
Love it. Accurate.
Rant. Over.
Accurate. Good rant. You brought up the trial of the Chicago 7, and I think maybe we should might want to talk about that someday
absolutely
on the show. And I'm wondering if you think you'll tear it to shreds as much as I want to.
We took a look at it months ago, so I'm ready to. I'm not ready right this second because I'd like to refamiliarize myself with some of my notes and that. But I will send you a link to the show we took on it. And it was like, this is way better politically, much better film.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Like you say, he actually, say, we don't want black capitalism to solve white capitalism, to fight white capital. We want socialism. Like this was a film that, and I can only think it's the kind of film that can only be made by a black film director who goes, I am not going to tear up this guy's history for current. Like I have a hard time thinking of a white filmmaker that's able to do this. This reminds me of what Steve McQueen is doing did in all those Small Axe films, where it's like acknowledging that these were political people who had a political worldview, had a Marxist political worldview, like solid Marx. It's how you can have a rainbow coalition. Because you've got, Marx provides that bedrock of analysis that allows a rainbow coalition to say, listen, we all know who the real enemy is here. Yeah. It's capitalism. It's owners. It's the rulers. And their toadies, the police.
Toadies?
Toadies.
I'm not sure I've heard that one before, or if that's just slipping my mind. Toadies.
I'm bringing them on. It could also be my, I'm thinking of Fink and now Toady. It could be just that I am a middle-aged white male from Canada. These are all vintage words, perhaps. Yeah. We'll just put #vintage. Sorry.
Now, looking back, can you remind me, in the movie, I think Marx came up at least once. I'm going to be honest. I didn't rewatch it since I watched it from the first time.
Once or twice.
Maybe once, yeah.
Once or twice.
Okay.
And just their analysis came up a couple of times. And they really, and again, if it was all about Fred Hampton, we probably would have heard a lot more about it. But, again, 3 movies going on here. You know what? And I don't want to say fucking pick one, because obviously, like, different DNA strands, and they're trying to make a lot of people happy to make the movie. But yeah, if it was more about Judas and the Black Messiah, or if it was more about the Judas, then we would have seen less of it. If it was more about Fred Hampton, I think we would have seen more of it, which is why we only see some of that class analysis. Yeah. But when you do see it, it's appropriate within the scene. It's not wedged in there later. Yeah. And yeah, kind of, damn, that was solid. Like, it is, and it's nice to see in a Hollywood film, because it is a Hollywood movie, that they mention it at all.
Yeah.
That they refer to each other as comrade, and in, how did Jim and I talked about this the other night. At no time are they presented as fools or delusional. They're not caricatures of Marxists. At no time do you feel like, I don't know what that is. That's not a Marxist. That's not a solid community activist. That's not a, like you felt. You did, like, as let's say, if you're a left wing, if there's any kind of class analysis, if you're coming from that sort of Marxist, say, end of the left wing pool, you're going to watch this movie and go, I want to be like them.
So are
you buying that?
Absolutely.
Or
I'm tracking. I'm tracking. I'm just wondering, do we think there's enough, like, Marxist analysis to keep the neolibs from like co-opting this in a dumb way. You know, like, oh yeah.
Oh, no. If he becomes, if all of a sudden there's a big resurgence of interest in Fred Hampton, right now, it's not even a neoliberal co-opting. Right now, there's some capitalist who's saying, ooh, how can I put this on a T-shirt?
Oh, no.
You know, it's the nature of the time we are in, right? Mm-hmm. I think maybe for you and I, Dan, for activists out there, it's this is, okay, and this is something I should have done. Why didn't I? That's my bad. This is what I could have been doing. Is it's there's going to be books out there about that time, about this man, about the Black Panther Party, how they organized. Some of these people are still alive. You know, I mean, we should be doing research to kind of go, what can. And maybe this is a challenge to you and I for when we talk about, how about this? For when we talk about the trial of the Chicago 7, why don't we make a challenge to ourselves? We'll find a couple of books and we'll find a couple of tips and bring that back to the table where we say, you know what, they did this and it could be happening here. Or we might be finding out it's like, not only did they do it then, there are communities under pressure now that are doing the same goddamn thing, and let's celebrate that and support that, or something like that.
Amen.
Heck, look at what you do now, though. Like, I don't want to knock ourselves too much. This is organizing on what we're doing now is a political act. Your show is a political act, and even talking about pop culture stuff from a left-wing perspective is a political act. People are, if I haven't bored them to tears, they're going to go away and maybe they watch this movie, or maybe they watched it and they're going to kind of, they got a point there. Or, they're going to say it to someone else when somebody else brings up the flick. Like, I think we are part of positive change.
I'd like to believe that. And I'm going to go to bed thinking that, because I need that. And we'll see. And it's a work in progress, of course.
It is, No, that's So there you go, man.
Yeah, Rob, good shit, dude. What about next week?
So next week we're going to be taking a look at Nomadland, another Oscar-nominated flick. It's the last in our series before our big Oscars watch party and prediction contest. Speaking of which, enter your predictions now. You can change your mind right up to an hour before our show on Sunday, April 25th, starting at 7 p.m. when the Oscars start. We'll probably be doing some trivia games. It'll be a whole little watch party thing. And this, I suspect it might have class consciousness, but an analysis that would more realm into what a Marxist would call false consciousness. But at the same time, it's still about let's say, not your typical upper middle class pretending to be middle class, or rich pretending to be middle class, bourgeois. Look at our wonderful lives that never have to worry about health care or capital in any way. Everything's fine. What will I do? How will I send my child to Harvard? Oh, right, I'll cut the check. That's how I'll do it. Perhaps cut an extra check to cheat.
Land.
I did, with your permission, I would like to plug one more thing.
Please.
I'm also recently, a few weeks ago, me and another movie guy did Dragon Movie Guy, that's his handle on YouTube. We did a deep dive conversation about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Okay.
And what we didn't do it live. We did a kind of live to tape, and then a whole bunch of streaming problems later, a ton of editing. I hope to have this conversation. It's part of a new series I'm doing on my channel called Let's Talk About. I hope to have that out today. And it's going to be part of some programming I'm going to be doing on the channel leading up to Zack Snyder's got a new zombie flick coming out.
Oh.
I have there's a guilty pleasure of mine. There's zombie movies.
Okay.
But here's the thing, it's Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
So I've also got another video be coming out within the next few weeks called I'm going to rank every Zack Snyder film to date based on from least to most offensive.
Oh my gosh. You hate him.
And I'd even say I might be abusing the word a little, but yeah, I think he's a crypto-fascist. There's something. Anyway, but I'll still watch that Netflix flick, but I want to ramp up to it. So this will be coming out hopefully today, and so folks, if you're into this kind of thing, I'm begging for a subscription, I guess.
Awesome. Okay, so Nomadland, that's on Netflix. And we'll be chatting about it next week.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. That's about it. Yeah. That's my story, man. How about you?
It's just I'm doing the thing, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm just doing the interview circuit these days. This show's turned into an interview show, and just trying to have a lot of fun with that. It's a lot of work editing. Holy moly!
Do me a solid.
What's up?
Change the spelling of my name.
No.
On the thumbnail.
That's wrong.
You can replace thumbnails. Yes, you're missing an S. I can't promote it because people always tease me about the spelling of my name anyway. So I can't even say, hey, watch this. Because it's like setting up all the cheap jokes of, hey, Crit Jansen. It's like,
where? Where's it wrong? Where did I screw it up?
Look at the thumbnail.
The thumbnail?
Yeah.
For what? As in right here?
For
on the screen?
Interview.
For the interview?
Remember the interview you did of me?
Oh, did I fuck it up? In the thumbnail in the YouTube? Oh, fuck me, dude.
In the YouTube,
huh? Oh, no. I think I know what you mean now. Oh, no, I didn't do this, did I? I did not.
It's all good, brother.
Oh, no. There's always so much room for error, and I've found everywhere I can't fuck up, down it.
Right.
No,
the internet.
Oh, I fucked this up too. How did I fuck this up? Oh my gosh, what is going on here? I have no idea what that was. That was strange. It slowly started cutting you out there, Rob. All right, I definitely fucked up the spelling. I see it now. I'll fix that, Rob. I'm so sorry.
Oh
my gosh. I'm a bad streamer.
I want to kind of say, hey, I was interviewed on a Leftist and Chill, and
it was a lot of fun. We're gonna have you back for round 2.
My mean friends.
We're gonna get Jim on there, huh? What do you think? He's left adjacent. I think that's fair, right?
Hmm.
Get Jim
left
in there.
Adjacent.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Feel free to help facilitate that. That'd be helpful, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
I'll shoot that invitation.
My pleasure, brother.
All right. Yeah, bud. Well,
I think I saw a question about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
What's going on? Well, you got a question. Question for Rob. Falcon, Winter Soldier. Any guesses for who the power broker is? I don't even know what words these are.
None.
What does that mean?
No guesses yet.
Oh.
I will get back to you.
There you go. No guesses.
Yep.
All right, Rob, I'm going to go ahead and let you go then. Thank you for your time today, buddy. We'll be looking forward to next week.
Thank you. I always love coming on your show.
This is a lot of fun.
It's always a great chat.
This is fun. What a great movie we got to chat about this week. Finally, a definitely class-conscious movie. I'm still a little nervous, the neolibs. What are they going to do? We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Well, they'll do what they do. We just got to keep doing what we do, I think.
Love it.
All right, brother. All right.
We'll talk to you next week. Peace, comrade.
Right. Ciao for now, my friend.
Ciao, ciao. Oh, okay. I always do that. All right. Hey, YouTube. You're watching a clip from my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/iDanSimpson, where you can follow for free and subscribe for only $5 a month. Thanks for watching.